Yesterday, there was a Labor Day protest in Chicago. We've talked a lot about the crime in Chicago. 56 were shot over the Labor Day weekend. 8 people died in Chicago as a result of those shootings. And this protest was called Workers Over Billionaires March. The mayor was there on stage, Brandon Johnson, and he was chanting no federal troops in the city of Chicago. Listen.
No federal troops in the city of Chicago. No militarized force in the city of Chicago. We're going to defend our democracy in the city of Chicago. We're going to protect the humanity of every single person in the city of Chicago.
These leaders spend more time targeting the president of the United States than caring about the issues that matter to their community. Where's the protest for all the gang members that are running that city, ruining the livelihood as well as the future of all these children that have been shot in cold blood in Chicago? There's no protest for that. And by the way, they keep saying that it's a war. These National Guardsmen, they need to be in war zones. What is this? 54 people shot? 8 people killed. I mean, this is happening almost every other week in Chicago. I think it is a war zone there.
Well, and, you know, comments like that have got to be offensive to the families and loved ones of the 8 individuals that died over the Labor Day weekend, the 8 that are now added to the previous 254 or 6 that have been killed this year. But you see a united front with the Democrats defending essentially the criminals by trying to resist federal assistance to bring it under control, because the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, also getting on the same page as Mayor Johnson, attacking the Trump administration watch.
No one in the administration, the president or anybody under him, has called anyone in my administration and me have not called the city of Chicago or anyone else. So it's clear that in secret they're planning this. Well, it's an invasion with U.S. troops if they, in fact, do that.
It's not an invasion. It's the reason that Donald Trump has to get involved. It's because the leaders of these blue states can't keep crime off their streets. They can't do anything about it. They're not trying to do anything about it. The message we hear is we like the violence. We don't want Donald Trump to help us. They're so anti-Trump, Lawrence. You've been to Chicago how many times? Our friend Gianna Caldwell lost his brother, was shot, and they've never caught his killer. You have people in Chicago saying that the governor and the mayor, they have security. Right. Why not security for the rest of the residents?
Well, Ainsley, and to that point also, why would the administration call them when they've resisted every single move? For example, they tried to get the Chicago police, and by the way, the rank and file cops want to comply with this, but their city leadership doesn't want to comply. Give us the criminals that are in your city. If we put an ICE detainer on them, hand them over. They don't want to even honor that with people that are in custody for crimes that they've already committed on their citizens. So why would the president call them about the National Guard so they can give the criminals the information so they can dox more cops?
And, you know, when you look at what the crackdown success that's happened in Washington, we talked to a lot of residents in Washington that said they're all for that. You're seeing exactly the same thing with Chicago residents who are essentially begging for more help because they see the crime every day and they aren't protected. Listen here.
It's just gone from bad to worse to disaster.
No one really feels safe. It's impossible to feel safe in a city like this, especially with the leadership we have.
These kids are carrying guns like around the ages of 8 years old, and they're killing other 8-year-old kids with guns. It's insane.
My opinion, not enough police officers. The police officers' hands are tied.
So the police is really unappreciated for offhand under Brandon Johnson, Lori Lightfoot, J.B. Pritzker. Those are 3 are the reason why nobody want to be a police.
Their policies when it comes to crime is not working at all.
I think the biggest piece of the pie has to be more police officers, more protection. That's what the people want.
Why were all these resources okay when I covered the DNC at the National Convention for the Democrats? They had the National Guard there. They had federal law enforcement there. So when all the politicians and former presidents and they want to host a big party for a week, it's okay to bring the National Guard and all the feds in for that, to protect them while they're there, because they know it's not safe there. But when the people that live there on the day-to-day basis have to go through this, oh, okay. No, it's criminal. The president wants to elude democracy. Just not fair.
The policing works. I mean, Griff, you live in the D.C. area, and you've seen what's happened in your city. People were moving out to the suburbs because they were scared to live in downtown D.C. The policing works. The president brought in the National Guard.
Well, and people, see this firsthand. I mean, look, you can talk to pretty much any D.C. resident that's lived there for years, and they can speak to an experience. I got mugged at gunpoint years ago. My car got broken into 4 or 5 months ago. I didn't even call the police. Not much damage was done because, that's the way life is. But the people in D.C. are responding the same way those residents in Chicago are responding because they realize, wow, Ainsley, I didn't ever think it didn't have to be this way. It could be safe with a temporary fix that includes National Guard presence. Pastor Corey Brooks out there, a strong voice in Chicago, is talking about this could certainly work in Chicago as it did in Washington. Listen.
Governor Pritzker said the National Guard should never come in unless there is an emergency. This is an emergency. Anytime we're continuing to lose lives on the south sides and west sides of Chicago, to those of us who live in the community, we deem that as an emergency. It's been a war zone for years, and for them to try to make people believe that Chicago is a safe place and that you can live in these parts of the neighborhood where we live and be okay, that's an outright lie. I do believe that organizations like Project Hood, we've done a great job, and other organizations like Metropolitan Family Services have done a great job getting the violence down. But having the National Guard come in would be like a shot in the arm. It would help us tremendously. We don't believe that they could solve all the problems, but we believe they could stand on corners and help calm down a lot of the violence so that we can continue to provide solutions that would be ongoing.
So the new line that I keep hearing from Democrats, and I even saw it on the Sunday shows over the weekend, is that we don't need law enforcement. We just need these programs. Right? I'm not against community programs. Pastor Brooks has a phenomenal program that we have supported, that our audience is given to get program for these kids. But you need both. You need law enforcement there. You can't send social workers to deal with the gangsters on the street. They're going to get shot. You need law and order, and you also need a pathway for these kids to have hopes in future. But the idea that you're just going to send all these programs in the community without any law and order is just asinine.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.